Welcome back. So this video is going to be the second video in the series I'm doing on producing, and this is the role of the producer, which is what I do. So in the first video I talked about an executive producer, essentially what they do, who they are, and this one I'm going to go into the producer. So most of the time a studio will get a script and they will hire an executive producer to then find a producer, and the EP will then give the producer the money to go and make the film. It's then up to the producer to hire everybody, all the crew, from the director to the DP to just everybody, and then each member, like director, DP, will hire different people for their different parts. So the big thing with it is pre-production as well. You know, the producer has to make sure that each department has the money they need. So the makeup department, catering, you know, camera department, everything, to make sure that if they need a highlights, or you need to get makeup, or you know, you need to get props, things like that, that the money's allocated there to do that. But also make sure there's enough left over for marketing and things like that, which is the executive producer's job. So I've put a little banner up here which gives you a rough idea. It says the producers are the ones who do the groundwork, get the film made after reading a script. So this here is a bit different to what I said before. So what I said before was sometimes a studio will get a script and hire an executive producer. It can be the other way around as well. For example, I was just sent a script then that I've got to look at. So sometimes a producer can be sent the script, and then it's up to them to either pitch it to a studio, or in our case, these videos are focusing on just our industry, not the big ones with studios, the ones, local independent ones that don't have a lot of money. In most of the cases, someone like myself, we won't worry about an executive producer, we'll just go and get it done ourselves. So that's a couple of different ways. The studio can give, like I said, hire an EP and get it done, or if a producer gets a script, they can try and approach a studio if you have that luxury and you're in that sort of a place where you've got a studio. So producers can also be responsible for organisational aspects of the production itself, including being in charge of the budget. So yeah, as I was saying, the producer organises all the crew. Most of the time the producer will be involved in the casting. Usually they have a casting director, and the main director will pick who the cast and crew are, but a lot of the time the producer can have the final say on who the cast is. Some producers can also be directors. I don't recommend it. I've tried it with Slice, and it's hard. It's hard enough to get everything made and ready to go, producing in pre-production, and then you've got to, concentrate on directing as well. Unless you're like who it says on there, Clint Eastwood or someone like that, we have had years and years of experience in both fields. I wouldn't recommend it. There are some people that can do it, which is awesome for them, but yeah, I just wouldn't recommend it. Also, next on the list, there is they will pass the job of the directing onto someone with more creative control. So for example, you might pass the role of directing onto a director who's had a lot more experience, and who also that's their primary job. They don't do anything else. In this case, the film I'm doing now, Aversion, Aaron is our director, but he's also an editor and things like that. So he's been doing it long enough to know exactly what he's doing. Also, if they are an executive producer, they are more of a silent partner who has invested in the film and will not interfere. So as I mentioned in the previous video, the executive producer gets given the money, finds a producer, then the producer goes off and makes the film, and the EP at the end makes sure it gets out to market, gets marketed, does what it needs to do. They do very rarely, and even in our industry, unless they do not have a say in how the film is made, or creative control essentially. If you have someone who invests a certain amount of money, now this does change with different companies. Okay, so for example, my production company, if somebody puts in a certain amount of money, I won't disclose what it is, a certain amount, then they get executive producer credit. They might get tickets to come to the show, meet and greet, but they don't have a say in who's cast or how the film's made or anything like that. Some bigger budgets do though. You know, you might have someone that's going to give you $50,000, but they want certain people recast, so then that's when you've got to decide if you're going to take the money or not. I like to use a lot of the people that I've already used, so sometimes if on the rare occurrence that does occur, someone wants to give you a lot of money, then you kind of have to work it out. Well, do I cut my nose off to spite my face, or do I work on getting this made properly? So just in closing, I think that if you're going to be a producer, make sure you look into the different aspects, because as I said, the one I made last week was executive. I am a producer. Then you have a line producer, co-producer and associate producer. I'll get into them in the next couple of videos. I have 2 co-producers on a version and they do an awesome job. So they essentially take the load or the pressure off the producer, and they might go and help find locations, or they might help do up pitch decks like we've done, or budgets or things like that. So it's just to give the producer a bit of a break. And then when the project's finished, the executive producer will then, it'll be given to him or her, and then they will go out and make sure the film's distributed and run on budget as much as they can. So that's really it for this one. The other thing is, in our industry, the majority of the time the producer is on set. So anything that needs doing, usually you go the first AD or the director, but if they're busy, you can go see the producer. And you know, they'll help with script supervising. They might even help out with catering. Because our industry is so small here and everybody works together, we wear multiple hats. So yeah, sometimes you might be a producer, but you might be doing other stuff as well, and you have to be prepared for that. So yeah, that's my video on producing. My next one will be the role of a line producer, which is a little bit different, and we don't really use them here that much. In bigger films, from I think it's about 100,000 upwards maybe, or 200,000 upwards, they might. And then obviously from there it'll be co-producers and associate producers. So yeah, thanks everyone. Remember to share, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Also, I'm going to post in the card above a link to the previous video I just did. And if there's any specific video you want to see me make that's not part of this series, leave in the comments below and I will do my best to get to it. Thanks you all, I'll see you soon.